Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast where MAGA comes to talk. All right, we got a lot to cover. Hillary Clinton just was so exposed today, and the director of the CIA, John Radcliffe, who, to me, that guy, he used to be in Congress. I always think John Radcliffe looks like one of the guys in Mad Men. I don't know. He just looks like he walked out of that era. But John Radcliffe, he's the director of the CIA. He just declassified a bunch of documents, gave them to Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, who's passed them along to Attorney General Bondi and Patel. And it's declassified papers from the Durham report. And, you know, the Durham report, we got so little out of that. Wasn't it disappointing? They got one indictment against some guy we never heard of. And then we find out that there was a vast left-wing conspiracy led by the Clinton campaign. That was some pretty evil stuff. So I'm going to go through all of that. And, you know, thing about Hillary Clinton, she is a stupid person, you know. And I remember when Bill Clinton first became president, everyone used to say that she was the brains of the two. And he was not. It's the opposite. Bill Clinton is a smart guy. He's got a lot of problems, but he's a smart guy. Hillary Clinton is stupid. And, you know, the other thing about Hillary Clinton, when it comes to her dreams of being president, she feels such a sense of entitlement that it is owed to her to be the president of the United States. Now, a lot of that may be all the garbage she put up with from her low-life husband her entire marriage. Okay, I'm sure she's been through a lot, and the embarrassment of all the women and everything. So, you know, everything that she's put up with, which she didn't put up with anything. Hillary Clinton made a decision to stay married to a man who did all the things that he did because she wanted power. And First Lady just wasn't enough. And she wants to be the president, and she thinks it's owed to her. And in 2008, that was supposed to be her turn. She had done all these things. She became the senator and everything else. It was supposed to be her turn. And Hillary Clinton got betrayed by her own friends in the Democrat Party who plugged in Obama and took her out of the running. And, you know, Obama came out of nowhere to run. He was approached by the Kennedy family and the Democrat Party establishment leadership, which at the time included the Democrat Senate Majority Leader, who was Harry Reid. And Hillary was so blindsided by Obama, it was insane. And once that Obama campaign got started, hers was a joke. It was more symbolic than anything throughout the entire 2008 Democrat primary, and she didn't know how to handle it. She had a fit over it. And and then when she lost, she made a deal to become the Secretary of State. But she also made a deal not just to become Secretary of State, but that 2012 would be her time. And that's why in 2012 they passed over Biden. They passed over Biden and gave it to Hillary. That was part of the deal they made. I'm sorry, not in 2012. And it's been a long day for me, guys. In 2016, they passed over Biden, and the deal she made was that in 2016, it was going to be her time to be president. And then Trump came down the escalator, and that was that. And as the campaign went along, and they saw that Donald Trump was a real foe, that he was the real deal, they started to panic and did all kinds of things. So I'm going to go through some of the stories of what was dropped today. The first one, this is an article from Fox News. This is some big stuff. I've got some other stories I want to cover on the podcast as well, but I want to start with this. Here's the headline, Fox News. Soros' alleged ties to Russiagate exposed in declassified annex of Durham report. Let's go through this a little bit. This is some really big stuff. You got to wonder, has it always been this way? Or is Trump such a transformational candidate and figure that they did things that they didn't really have to do before because everybody else that was running for president all these years was part of the team? I don't know. But anyway, Fox News. The credible foreign sources indicating the FBI and the Obama administration would play a role in spreading the salacious Trump-Russia narrative before the Bureau, the FBI, ever launched its probe were allegedly tied to George Soros's Open Society Foundation, according to an explosive document declassified today. And remember, this is from the Durham report. So when Durham finally came out with his report, we saw nothing. It was like, what did he do for however long he had his investigators? And now we know he uncovered quite a bit, but they covered it up and classified it. The appendix to former special counsel John Durham's report, released by the Senate Judiciary Committee, sheds stunning light on what Chairman Chuck Grassley describes as one of the biggest political scandals and cover-ups in American history. And I don't think that's an exaggeration at all, do you? CIA Director John Radcliffe, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Attorney General Pam Bondi worked in coordination to declassify the information. Before its official release, sources exclusively briefed Fox News Digital on some of the contents of the appendix, including that the U.S. intelligence community had credible foreign sources indicating the FBI would play a role in spreading the salacious Trump-Russia collusion narrative before the FBI launched its controversial Crossfire Hurricane probe. So they're saying here the FBI has already agreed to spread this. They haven't done any investigations. They don't know anything, but they're going to spread it anyway. And this is all in the Durham report. I'll tell you what, Durham should be charged, shouldn't he? So many people have said over the years, what can be done about Soros? Now we got like a crime with the Soros Foundation. And I don't care what anyone says. Vivek Ramaswamy, I know a lot of you guys like him. Remember, the Soros Foundation helped pay for his college education, and he was one of those Soros fellows. So when you see what the allegations are against the Soros organization, do you really trust Vivek Ramaswamy with his Soros connections? What do you guys think? Back to the Fox News story. A source familiar with the contents of the classified appendix told Fox News Digital that while it may not have been exactly clear in the moment what the intelligence collection meant, with the benefit of hindsight, it predicted the FBI's next move with alarming specificity. The appendix reveals that the foreign sources were allegedly tied to George Soros's Open Society foundations. The appendix said that Russian government actors in 2016 reportedly hacked emails from the Open Society foundations, formerly known as the Soros Foundation. Yeah, I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy, do you trust anyone that has Soros ties? By the way, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you are watching live on YouTube, you're welcome to call. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll-free no matter where you're tuned in from. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, back to this Fox News article. Two of the apparently hacked emails appear to have originated from the Open Society foundations, the appendix states, noting that the purported author of these emails was Leonard Bernard, who was the regional director for Eurasia at the Open Society foundations. During the first stage of the campaign, due to lack of direct evidence, it was decided to disseminate the necessary information through the FBI-affiliated technical structures. What is that? I've never heard of that before. In particular, the CrowdStrike and Threat Connect companies, from where the information would be disseminated through leading U.S. publications, Bernardo reportedly wrote in an email. So are these organizations FBI front companies? These are things. Have any of you ever heard of the FBI-affiliated technical structures? I've heard of CrowdStrike, but what about Threat Connect companies? Have you heard of that? That's a new one to me. Back to Fox News. The media analysis on the DNC hacking appears solid. Julie, who was a Clinton campaign advisor, says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Now it is. This is an internal Hillary Clinton email. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce, Bernardo allegedly wrote, per the appendix. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire. So there's been no investigations, no evidence has been uncovered, no one questioned, but the FBI has already spoken with the Clinton campaign that they're going to put up an illusion of collusion. Another email reportedly from Bernardo states, Hillary Rodham Clinton, who they refer to as HRC in the emails, approved Julie's idea about Trump and Russian hackers. She just made it up. So basically, Hillary Clinton approved her fiction. Why don't we just say that Trump's working with Russians? Okay. The FBI said they'll go along with that. The email goes on. This should distract people from her own missing emails. So here is this is amazing. So here we have internal emails from the Clinton campaign. They're concerned about all the missing emails and the beach blit and all of that business, and they're looking for a way to distract the public. So they came up with this Trump Russia. This should distract people from her own, that would be Hillary Clinton's, missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level, Bernardo continued, per the annex. The point is making the Russian play a U.S. domestic issue. Say something like a critical infrastructure threat to feel manic, since both POTUS and VPOTUS, that'd be Biden, have acknowledged the fact. Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI's Trump-Russian investigation was opened several days later on July 31st, 2016. This is insanity. You know, all these people in these emails should be on Kash Patel and Dan Bongino's arrest list. These are not people that have presidential immunity. I mean, we have them here colluding with one another, conspiring on treason. The appendix reveals that Durham's team interviewed numerous FBI personnel involved in the Crossfire Hurricane probe. Durham said those he interviewed believed the Bernardo emails to be likely authentic. So the Durham report said that this conspiracy was real. Durham's appendix states that the Clinton camp, this is a very detailed story. It's really amazing how much detail has come out on this today. Really, we're one of the things that's frightening about this is that Hillary Clinton's evil. All these low-life criminals that were working on her campaign, Bernardo and Julie here, they would have been senior people running this government in a Hillary Clinton administration. You understand? They would have had senior jobs in the Hillary Clinton White House. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take some calls in a bit. Durham's appendix states that the Clinton campaign might have wanted or expected the FBI or other agencies to aid in that effort, put more oil into the fire by commencing a formal investigation of the DNC hack. Oh, they got there's a lot of collusion going on, and these FBI people that they were working with, they should be arrested too. This is all high treason. All high treason. Communications the Durham team reviewed additionally supported that the Clinton campaign allegedly had been engaged in a plan to tie Trump to Russia, and that the Hillary campaign wanted or expected the office of the vice president, the FBI, or other parts of the intelligence community, such as the State Department's Bureau of Intelligence and Research, to aid in that effort. The office's best assessment is that the emails that purport to be from Bernardo were ultimately a composite of several emails that were obtained through Russian intelligence hacking of the U.S.-based think tanks, including the Open Society Foundations. Again, that's the Soros organization, the Carnegie Endowment, and others, the Durham Annex stated. It is a logical deduction Julianne Smith was, at minimum, playing a role in the Clinton campaign's effort to tie Trump to Russia, Durham writes. Why didn't he charge her? Durham. Also noting that the communications reviewed certainly lends at least some credence that such a plan existed. Based on the Durham Annex, the Obama FBI failed to adequately review and investigate intelligence reports showing the Clinton campaign may have been ginning up the fake Trump-Russia narrative for Clinton's political gain, which was ultimately done through the Steele dossier and other means, Grassley said in the statement. These intelligence reports and related records, whether true or false, were buried 4 years. This is insane. Grassley said that history will show that the Clinton and Biden administration law enforcement and intelligence agencies were weaponized against President Trump. That's true. And the American people. See, all this was happening because President Trump is the first president we have ever had who was not handpicked by the political establishment of the two parties in any of our lifetimes, and maybe in the history of the United States. Back to the Fox article. The political weaponization has caused critical damage to our institutions and is one of the biggest political scandals and cover-ups in American history, Grassley said. The new Trump administration has a tremendous responsibility to the American people to fix the damage done and do so with maximum speed and transparency. Yeah, you know, the thing with this is we need all these people in these emails need to be arrested, charged, and go to prison. You know, if these lower level people, the behind the scenes characters, get arrested and go to prison, these evil people in these high level positions that are nearly impossible to go to prison will have a hard time finding people to do their dirty work because they don't want to go to prison like all these Clinton people if they did that. In 2020, Fox News Digital exclusively reported that former CIA Director John Brennan, in the summer of 2016, briefed President Obama and administration officials on intelligence that then Democrat nominee Clinton reportedly was stirring up a plan to tie Trump to Russia. Radcliffe, as Director of National Intelligence, that was in the first Trump term, declassified Brennan's handwritten notes, which were exclusively obtained by Fox in 2020. In 2016, Brennan briefed Obama on a plan allegedly by one of Clinton's campaign foreign policy advisors to vilify Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. And that whole narrative is basically, 10 years of the Rachel Maddow show, right? I wonder if she's got any connection to this. Do you think Rachel Maddow knowingly was a part of this coup conspiracy? What do you guys think about that? The FBI on July 31st, 2016, opened a counterintelligence investigation into whether candidate Trump and members of his campaign were colluding or coordinating with Russia. The investigation was referred to inside the Bureau as Crossfire Hurricane. That's what we're always talking about. Comey, Vice President Biden, Loretta Lynch, who was the Attorney General at the time, Clapper, who had Tulsi Gabbard's job, were at the Brennan-Obama briefing. After the briefing, and one in the White House on August 3rd, 2016, with Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Biden, Comey, and others, the CIA properly forwarded that information through a counterintelligence operational lead to Comey, and then Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok with the subject line Crossfire Hurricane. And if you remember just a few days ago, Peter Strzok, who's mentioned here, deleted all of his tweets all the way back on his Twitter. That's right. Fox News Digital exclusively obtained and reported on this. It goes into that and just a lot of rehashing. So now the question is, what will Pam Bondi and Kash Patel do? When are they going to get the handcuffs out? When will there be an arrest? Who should and arresting these lower level people is a perfect way to start. They're all involved in it. They got their hands and fingers all over everything. They got them red-handed. It's right there. These are their own emails. There's enough to send them to prison. A lot of people to prison. And when these lower level people who don't have household names start getting busted, they start talking and you learn more. My name's Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to take our first break. When we come back, I'll take some calls, all right? Don't go anywhere.
Tired of rummaging through your drawers, boxes, and bins, trying to find what you need? It's time to bring order to all that chaos, and you can do just that with Prinbo. That's Prinbo, the smart Bluetooth label maker that helps you organize everything with ease. Whether you're at home, in the office, or at school, Prinbo makes labeling fast, fun, and frustration-free. It's easy to use, too. Just open the intuitive app, design your label, and print instantly via Bluetooth. Need durability? No problem. problem, Primbo delivers vibrant, waterproof labels with perfect adhesion that stays put and leaves no sticky mess behind when you're ready to switch things up. Made from premium materials right here in the United States, Primbo is built to last and ready to simplify your life, one label at a time. From spice racks to school supplies, office files to extension cords, Primbo puts everything in its place so you can stay stress-free and focused. Primbo makes a great gift too. Get organized the smart way. Visit Primbo.store. That's Prinbo, and bring clarity to your space. Primbo.store. Do you ever look back on your life and just laugh out loud? Author Joe Palermo does just that in his book, Who Killed My Sea Monkeys and Other Tales of Life, available on Amazon. When you read Who Killed My Sea Monkeys, you'll laugh and maybe even tear up a little. From growing up with Smokey the Bear as his unofficial childhood therapist, to the emotional devastation of a sea monkey massacre, to the day his wife left him for a Korean boy band. The author takes you on a wild, witty ride. It's storytelling that feels like you're sitting across the table from an old friend. If you love sharp humor, unexpected insight, and a few heart-tugging surprises, Who Killed My Sea Monkeys is your next must-read book. It also makes a great addition to your book club. Order your copy today. Available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook on Amazon. Who Killed My Sea Monkeys and Other Tales of Life, from author Joe Palermo. You know their favorite show. You know how they take their coffee. But do you know what your partner really needs to feel loved? To feel seen. Too many couples drift apart, not because they stop caring, but because they stop really connecting. The Power of Knowing Your Partner is a must-read, eye-opening book that shows you how to bring mindfulness into everyday moments, so you can stop going through the motions and start building a relationship that lasts. If you're ready to deepen your bond, rebuild your connection, or simply become a better partner, go to thebestlife8.com. That's the number 8, thebestlife8.com, and order your copy of The Power of Knowing Your Partner, because knowing them better starts with being present right now. Thebestlife8.com.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. Are you in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton and talk to him about his laser away pain treatment. You know, the laser away pain treatment, which Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain of 7 times. Shoulder injuries, arthritis, knee pain, knee injuries, all kinds of pains. It's absolutely amazing. It works. It will rid you of pain painlessly, without drugs, without shots, without injections, without downtime. Not only is it painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments himself. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of: arthritis, bursitis, sciatica, strains and sprains, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, hip pain, lumbar pain. The list goes on. If there's a pain, it works. And if you've been in an auto accident or a slip and fall or some other type of accident and you have pain from that, Dr. Appleton and the laser away pain treatment can rid you of pain with that too. Now remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. And you know, we've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. He's that good. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, we're going to go to the phones, and I'm going to ask to keep it on topic. Okay, I do have some other issues I am going to bring up later on the program, but I want to stick to this. Huge stories, huge revelations. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I can't help it. Your headphones are just so fucking disgusting, dude.
Yeah, not as disgusting as you are. Grown man. Can you imagine? Can you imagine holding on for like 20 minutes for that? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Frank in Titusville, Florida.
Hey, Frank. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to get your opinion on something. I know that Trump has stated publicly that Obama has immunity and that nothing can come from this, but this is just a random thought. Do you think it's possible that maybe that's a bluff just to keep Obama off guard, think that he's bulletproof or something?
No, it's establishing that he has immunity because they've been coming after him, Trump, on fake charges. and it's just telling them they can't do that. No, but that, I'm fine with that. It's the way it is. You and I have no power to change it. But Trump said Obama has immunity, but those around him do not.
Yeah, I was just thinking, though, if I had some really incriminating evidence on someone, especially of high power, I wouldn't want them to think that, I could get thrown in jail. I would want them to think they're safe as long as possible, if indeed that was my plan to take them
he's
down.
telling it, and he's telling the truth. Now, with that being said, because he has immunity, presidential immunity, because this happened when he was still president, he can be compelled to testify, and he has to tell the truth because he has immunity. When you have immunity, you can't take the fifth because you can't incriminate yourself if you have immunity. So if he does not tell the truth when he testifies, that's a new crime, a major felony, perjury, and he's no longer president. So then he could get jammed up.
Oh, that would be an entertaining day to see that happen.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
All right, that was all. I just wanted to hear your opinion on that.
All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, well, I remember, during the Biden residency, I don't call it presidency, residency, I've been hearing a lot about John Durham and what he's opened up and what he was doing. It was exciting when I was following it, and it was very promising. And, it was very, but as I was waiting over the years as they were going by, I wasn't really hearing anything. And I'm hearing all, I'm just, you get kind of pessimistic, and these the roads that go to nowhere.
That's right.
And I was expecting, at this point, maybe more fruit will be, come out here, would be born on the trees here as time goes, maybe. Yeah. Just like what you said about, all these low-level criminals that we're gonna, they're gonna hopefully go to jail. Probably will lead to something bigger with the bigger players a little bit down the road. Maybe not right away.
Well, what we found out is that what we're finding out today because of these declassified documents, Durham found out about a lot of crimes. They just covered it up. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to know how that happened. I mean, did Durham commit crimes? Is Durham a part of this coup? Did he go along with the cover-up? I don't know. But he found out a lot during that investigation, and they did one indictment on some guy we never heard of, whose name I can't even remember.
Right. And that's disappointing. And I guess his son is active in this, too. I mean, he's a lawyer as well. I'm not sure to what degree. I think he's in New York.
Yeah.
But, I think that, we can we can try these people now, and we can see where it goes. But, I mean, I know that, Obama does have immunity, and Trump said so himself.
Yep.
Do you think maybe Trump, I think, obviously I take everything Trump said, everything he says he's right about everything. But do you think maybe Trump is just playing the high road right now because...
the caller before you said the same thing. No, Trump said that Obama has presidential immunity. And that's important to Trump because the lawfare against him, he's reaffirming that they can't go after him on these fake charges all the time.
That's just, and you know what? Maybe down the road this is good because maybe if we go after Obama, and I think you said that, it will give the Democrats more fuel to go after, to come out in numbers and to try and take back positions and seats in the Senate. Maybe I've been talking about this week, and I know people don't want to hear this, but I want to tell it like it is. Like it or not, no one wants to arrest the first black president of the United States. All these Soros organizations and everything, they would pay to have riots in America's blue cities. It would be destructive. Who's going to arrest and charge the first black president? Because they're going to be put in all the history books with all the segregationists forever. Nobody wants to do that. It's difficult enough to arrest a president, especially a Democrat president, but the first black one, it would stop everything. If you want to drain the swamp, really, it's better to get these lower level people and lock up as many as we can, maybe hundreds of people, dozens certainly, as opposed to getting one guy to satisfy our ego. That would stop it. If they arrested or even just charged Barack Obama, it would stop the whole country in its tracks. The country would be it. And the Democrats very well may be able to use an Obama arrest to rally to circle the wagons around Obama and get their party back that's fading away.
No, it's best not to go after the first black president. I know people don't like hearing that. No one's above the law. Well, in a perfect world, but there are people above the law. And Barack Obama is one of them.
And you know something, you say it that way, it makes so much sense. After we have to. People are too fast and moving too fast, and they're not standing back and looking. And you're looking at the big picture here.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's right or that I'm happy with it, but I live in the reality.
And
it would be so easy for me to go on the air and rally up people and get the phones lit. Obama's going to go to jail, but I'm not going to do that. Because it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, do you think that Barack Obama, since a lot of people think that he's still actively going against Trump now, everything that he's been doing ever since he's been president, he won't have immunity from that? Do you think there's any?
Well, that's true. That's true. But the longer he's out of office, the less power he has. Donald Trump's reelection to a second and non-consecutive term weakened whatever juice Obama had. I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people, but Bill Clinton used to be a big, powerful person too after he left the White House. And look at him. He's nothing now. And that's where the Obamas are fading into. Nothing. Having no juice.
They're already fading away.
Yeah.
They're fading away. Yeah, look at Bill Clinton goes down the street. Nobody looks at him.
That's right.
I think the Obamas are starting to get that. No one listens to Michelle Obama's podcast. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then he goes on, and that didn't help boost the numbers when he went on himself.
Nope.
And absolutely, it showed you that they're like you said, they've lost their influence. And as the longer time goes, and I don't think Trump's going to be like that, though. Trump's only going to get better and better because Trump is the first of many things. And that's why Trump is separate.
Well, Donald Trump is more than just your typical president. I mean, he's an iconic figure. He's a civil rights leader. He's a legend. He's a historical figure. Bill Clinton will be one of those presidents that's forgotten. He has no major accomplishments except his sex scandal with Lewinsky. Barack Obama, he'll have a place in history because he's the first black president. But Donald Trump is a different thing.
Yeah, he's absolutely magnificent, and of course, despite Barack Obama being only part, when they're going to make him, they sell him as a whole African American, and of course they're going to use that because that's what they do. Liberal media, of course, will be right behind that to remember him in history.
Yeah.
But we all know the truth about him and how he got to where he is. It was all establishment stuff. Like I said, Donald Trump is the only president in history.
When Donald Trump left, when he left office after his first term, the first President's Day, when he was no longer president, I went to Mar-a-Lago. Over 200,000 people turned out spontaneously and had at Mar-a-Lago and had a parade, and I was there. And I know some of you were there because there were so many, and it was here in South Florida. Some of you had to be there. Don Jr. walked out of the front of Mar-a-Lago. He was almost in tears, overwhelmed. And the president was there, and he saw it. When has anybody done that?
It's never happened for any president before. I mean, he gets on it every year. He was getting on. Yeah, I do remember this, and that was absolutely. I've never seen anything like that before. I don't remember anybody ever coming out for George Bush or Reagan. I mean, I was small with Reagan, but I mean, I know that nothing happened with Reagan, as great as Reagan was, and or George Bush or Senior.
Because MAGA support. See, he's not. Democrats. They like Obama. They like Clinton. They like AOC. Some like Jasmine Crockett, but Trump supporters, we love him. There's a bond and a love between his supporters and him, and it goes both ways. It's a whole other thing. That's what, and all these people that say, "Oh, I was a Trump supporter until," they were never a Trump supporter. They're liars.
Yeah, you can't just right. I'm so sick and tired of them too. I hear a lot of these seminar, maybe just seminar callers, but a lot of these callers I've heard on your show in the morning, they come in there and they say the but thing. You always emphasize that but. Mm-hmm. And I got people I talk to like, oh, wait a minute. What makes you not stay on the path if you ever were on the path? Mm-hmm. What did he do that hurt you so bad? What did he do that made you feel this way to change completely around the world? You know what? Democrats become Republicans. Republicans don't become anything near a liberal, or they don't become a never Trump. Like, something must have happened, because I'm wondering, what is that? Were you ever really there? Were you?
No. There is no Trump supporter who was really a Trump supporter who doesn't support him still. If they were voicing their support in the past, they were lying.
Yeah.
But most of them are just liberals. Most of them are just liberals, and everything's a lie.
But you got some of these conservative podcasters too, that, like we were saying before, maybe they were trying to get some clout as well. I don't know how much real they how
You know,
how real they can be.
yeah, oh, you just reminded me. I'm gonna take some more calls, but I appreciate the call. Just reminded me of something I heard on the Patrick Bet David show that I'm gonna mention later, maybe. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right. Oops. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell you guys about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, if you're in the state of Florida, take down this number. It is rainy season. It is hurricane season here in the state of Florida. Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy who will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing will do it. He covers the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. He works on every type of structure there is, residential, commercial. He works on church roofs, municipal. He can handle a job of any size, whether it's one office building, a small single-family home, or a homeowners association that has over 300 units. He can handle a job of any size. If you have an HOA, he will work with your HOA to get the work done. You know, here in the state of Florida, 80% of Floridians live in a home that has an HOA, a homeowners association, and they are tyrants, okay? And a lot of these communities, they make it difficult. Tom Laporta has a way to deal with HOAs that I've never seen before. I call him the Alan Dershowitz of HOAs. And Steve Kane's HOA hate him. And he worked with them, and Steve got a whole new roof and a new style like nobody else in the neighborhood and development have. It's a beautiful job. So give Tom Laporta a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone. You can also text him, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. That's LaportaRoofing.com. We'll be right back.
Tired of rummaging through your drawers, boxes, and bins, trying to find what you need? It's time to bring order to all that chaos, and you can do just that with Prinbo. That's Prinbo, the smart Bluetooth label maker that helps you organize everything with ease. Whether you're at home, in the office, or at school, Prinbo makes labeling fast, fun, and frustration-free. It's easy to use, too. Just open the intuitive app, design your label, and print instantly via Bluetooth. Need durability? No problem. Prinbo delivers vibrant, waterproof labels with perfect adhesion that stays put and leaves no sticky mess behind when you're ready to switch things up. Made from premium materials right here in the United States, Prinbo is built to last and ready to simplify your life, one label at a time. From spice racks to school supplies, office files to extension cords, Prinbo puts everything in its place so you can stay stress-free and focused. Prinbo makes a great gift, too. Get organized the smart way. Visit Prinbo.store. That's Prinbo, and bring clarity to your space. Prinbo.store. Imagine stepping into your kitchen and it's filled with vibrant vegetables, fragrant spices, and the joy of creating meals that nourish your body and the planet. In the new book, Plant-Powered Plates, Sustainable Plant-Based Pleasures for Every Palate, from author Bain Kalange. Available on Amazon, you'll discover 100 delicious plant-based recipes designed to fuel you with energy and simplify your transition to a balanced vegan lifestyle. From mindful eating and nutrition essentials to a 30-day meal plan, the author is passionate about healthy, sustainable living and has a love for simple, nourishing meals and mindful habits. He wrote Plant-Powered Plates to help others just like you enjoy the benefits of plant-based eating and shares practical, actionable ideas that'll inspire a balanced, thoughtful lifestyle, one plate at a time. Order your copy of Plant-Powered Plates right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. If you're serving in the military or thinking about getting out, there's a new book that you will want to add to your must-read list. Mission Ready, Smart Strategies for Active Duty Life, Deluxe Edition, available on Amazon. This is the no BS field guide every service member needs, and it's written by disabled veteran TDW. It has everything he wishes someone handed him on day one. When you read Mission Ready, you'll learn how to build real wealth on military pay, PCS without losing your mind, and get your VA benefits, skill bridge, and home loan options straight, promotion hacks, transition advice that actually works. It's all in Mission Ready. Plus, checklist, real-world scenarios, and actionable tools you can use right now, not someday. Whether you're enlisted, career-minded, or counting down to ETS, Mission Ready is your battle plan. It'll become your mentor, your coach, and your wingman all in one. Order your copy right now on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, or Kindle Unlimited. Mission Ready, Smart Strategies for Active Duty Life, Deluxe Edition from author TDW. Order your copy right now.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, which, by the way, The Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. Just search for The Brian Craig Show podcast. If you watch me on YouTube, you can catch the podcast live and call in. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. And if you're watching live on YouTube, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. Okay, so I was watching Tomi Lahren was on Patrick Bet-David's show today. And Tomi Lahren said, I haven't really heard her speak for a long time. She's kind of disappeared. I don't know where she's been. I've seen her on Fox from time to time over the last few years, but you don't hear from Tomi Lahren. Maybe she married some rich guy and is like kind of retired with kids. I don't know what her situation is, but I just haven't seen her in a while. But she was on, Tomi Lahren, she was on with Patrick Bet-David today. And they were talking about everything involving Epstein in the last few weeks. And Tomi Lahren said this to Patrick Bet-David, and I didn't hear much disagreement from Patrick Bet-David and his crew. She says there's a lot of conservative influencers and podcast hosts who have made a living for years, 5 years plus, on Epstein, and they keep it going because it's a cash cow for them. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Tomi Lahren was right about that or wrong about that? I was surprised to hear her say it, and then I was just as surprised to hear Patrick Bet-David and his team didn't take too much issue with her. So what do you guys think about that? I don't know. I was surprised to hear her say that, and she said it without even thinking. I mean, she just said it. Okay, now I wanted to share this before I get to some other things. Kamala Harris, who just announced she's not running for governor of California. You know, Richard Nixon, when he lost to President Kennedy, ran for governor of California. That didn't turn out too well. That's when Nixon said, you're not going to have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore, right? That quote came when he lost the governor's race in California. But I think what's going on in California and why Kamala is not running is California is becoming a red state. The deportations out of California are in huge numbers. Many of them are self-deportations, but a lot of them are happening because of Tom Homan's good work. And we've seen the videos all over social media of rush hour driving down the freeways of LA and there's no traffic. I had a story yesterday from Zero Hedge, which you can check out on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. Traffic accidents in New York City and Los Angeles are down 10% in the first few months of this year compared to the same time last year. And it's believed it's because of the deportations or fear of deportations that there are fewer illegals on the road. I mean, it's huge. It's becoming a very strong red state. But anyway, Kamala Harris has a bug killer of a book that she's promoting. And I say bug killer because the book is so big, if you dropped it on a bug, that's it. It's very thick. It's almost as thick as the New York City phone book in the 1970s. And she put out a video. Here's Willie Brown's girlfriend. That's right, Kamala Harris.
Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States.
Now, I want to slow down on that. This is crazy to me. Kamala Harris didn't get a single vote, and they gave her the nomination. You know, you on the left that call Trump a dictator, how did she get the nomination without getting a single vote? Have you ever heard anything like that happening before?
Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. 107 days, traveling the country, fighting for our future.
Yeah.
The shortest presidential campaign in modern history. It was intense, high stakes, and deeply personal for me and for so many of you. Since leaving office, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on those days.
Yeah. With a bottle in
talking
our
with
hand.
my team, my family, my friends, and pulling my thoughts together. In essence, writing a journal that is this book, 107 Days.
Oh my goodness. The book is called 107 Days. It's not and indicates a decimal point. Okay? But 100, she wrote a book that is almost as thick as Bill Clinton's autobiography, My Life, on 107 days. What, does she have a chapter on every day? What is what is there to write that is so historic in 107 days? You know, I might get this book. I really do. I might get this book and read it. I'm dying to know this 107-day campaign, what she has filled a book with involving that.
Working with my team, my family, my friends, and pulling my thoughts together. In essence, writing a journal that is this book, 107 Days. With candor and reflection, I've written a behind-the-scenes account of that journey. I believe there's value in sharing what I saw, what I learned, and what I know it will take to move forward. In writing this book, one truth kept coming back to me. Sometimes the fight takes a while, but I remain full of hope, and I remain clear-eyed. I will never stop fighting to make our country reflect the very best of its ideals.
Now, will she stop drinking, too? I don't know. She should work on that first before she starts,
Always on behalf of the people. So thank you for being in this fight with me. I am forever grateful. And I cannot wait for you to read this. And I'll see you out there. Take care.
See us out there. Where? At the AA meeting? Oh my goodness. I mean, 107 days. What could she write about in that 107-day campaign? I am curious. I'm serious. I might get that book. But if it's a journal and it's written like, those are annoying to read. I don't like reading books that are like journals like that. Or maybe I'll just get the highlights in the news when the news starts covering it. That's pretty bizarre. It takes a lot of guts to do that. Now, could you imagine if she was president today? This hat I'm wearing would be illegal. I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat. Hats like this would be illegal. I wanted to share something with you that I pulled up today. And this is not the normal thing I would do, but I'm going to pull something up for you, and I think you'll enjoy it. But first, I want to tell you this. If you'd like to support my channel and all of my content, become a Patreon supporter. If you become a Patreon supporter, you have access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes, as well as access to a lot of exclusive things that I post nowhere else. My wife and I both post on the Patreon page things that are posted nowhere else, on top of getting commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode of mine. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this program on whatever platform you're tuned in on. And the direct website address is patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow, patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. If you become a top Patreon supporter, top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air, thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, and Janice. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're listening on. Okay, so I want to pull something up. And this is not the kind of thing I would normally do, but I want to do this because I keep getting calls from people claiming that President Trump isn't doing anything to help the American people. And I pulled this up. This is about the big, beautiful bill. And this is from the IRS website. And it goes through the tax breaks that he has given some of the most deserving people in our society. And I wanted to go through this because people keep, what's he doing for us? He's helping the rich, the billionaires. And he's helping the people that need the breaks the most. And this is on the IRS's official website. You can go and look this up yourself. It's the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, tax deductions for working Americans and seniors. Okay, now first is no tax on tips. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing the page from the website. You can look at it. No tax on tips. Effective for 2025, so this is immediate, through 2028. Now, unfortunately, they couldn't make it permanent, but it'll come back and be made permanent or extended in 2028. Employees and self-employed individuals are your Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, independent contractors, and self-employed individuals may deduct qualified tips received in occupations that are listed by the IRS as customarily and regularly receiving tips on or before December 31st, 2024. So this is retroactive. You're going to be able to deduct no tax on tips for the entire year of 2025. That's awesome. And that are reported on a W-2 form or 1099 or other specified statement furnished to the individual or reported directly by the individual. Qualified tips are voluntary cash or charged tips received from customers or through tip sharing. Maximum annual deduction is $25,000 for self-employed. Deduction may not exceed individuals' net income without regard to this deduction from the trade or business in which tips were earned. See, they got to make sure that all of a sudden everybody doesn't get paid in tips so they can deduct everything. That's why they do it that way. It's to stop a loophole, right? Pretty good, huh? No tax on tips. The deduction phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross incomes of over $150,000 a year single or $300,000 for joint filers. So this applies to like 99.9% of people that earn tips. I mean, how many people are tip workers that are married making $300K a year? I can't imagine. Taxpayer eligibility, the deduction is available for both itemizing and non-itemizing taxpayers. Self-employed individuals in specified service trades or businesses are not eligible. They have a list of where you can find those. Employers whose employer is an SSTB are also not eligible. And it goes on. I mean, this is awesome. So no tax on tips. For people that earn up to $300,000 a year, that's absolutely amazing. Here's the next one. No tax on overtime. This is a great one. And now this is the official IRS website. And this is a good one. I mean, those of you that work overtime, on overtime, for whatever reason, you get taxed at a higher rate on that overtime. No taxes. Listen to this. Effective for 2025, individuals who receive qualified overtime compensation may deduct the pay that exceeds the regular rate of pay, such as the half portion of time and a half compensation that is required by the Fair Labor Standards Act and that is reported on Form W-2 or Form 1099 or other specified statements. The maximum annual deduction is $25,000 for joint filers, $12,500 for single. That's pretty darn good. I mean, come on. These are for people that are the most deserving. Look at the next one. This one's a great one. Look at this. No tax on car loan interest. Now, this is a biggie. If you have a mortgage on your home, you can deduct that, right? But car interest, you cannot. Until now, thanks to President Trump. This is all money in people's pocket that they didn't have before because of President Trump, the great MAGA Republican Party, and the big, beautiful bill. So don't let anybody tell you this is just about billionaires and millionaires. It's for the most deserving lower income people. And car loan interest rates can be loan shark rates. Listen to this. No tax on car loan interest. Effective for 2025, individuals may deduct interest paid on a loan used to purchase a qualified vehicle, provided the vehicle is purchased for personal use, so you can't do it for a business vehicle, like if you have a corporate fleet or something, and meets other eligibility criteria. Lease payments do not qualify. The maximum annual deduction is $10,000. Well, that's pretty good. That's a $10,000 deduction off your taxes. Deduction phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross incomes over $100,000 single or $200,000 for joint filers. So that's like 94% of the public. Okay? To qualify for the deduction, the interest must be paid on a loan that is originated after December 31st, 2024, used to purchase a vehicle, the original use of which starts with the taxpayer. Used vehicles do not qualify, so it's got to be a new car. What a boom for the American auto industry. Now, what a selling point. You know, they've been using that ridiculous thing, the tax credit on the electric vehicles. You go in there, you get an interest rate. You can deduct that interest on your new car. That's a great, people are going to be lining up to buy new cars once they realize this. Let's see here, I lost my place. Lease payments don't qualify. Maximum annual deduction is $10,000. Deduction phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross incomes of over $100,000 single or $200,000 for joint filers. Again, that's more than 93% of the population. To qualify for the deduction, the interest must be paid on a loan that is originated after December 31st, 2024, so starting in 2025. Used to purchase a vehicle, the original use of which starts with the taxpayer. Used vehicles do not qualify. The vehicle is for personal use, not for business or commercial use. Okay? A qualified vehicle is a car, minivan, van, SUV, pickup truck, or motorcycle with a gross vehicle weight rating of less than 14,000 pounds and that has undergone final assembly in the United States. Well, see, this is a cool thing, final assembly in the United States. As an example, there's Lexus factories where the car is assembled in the United States. So that would qualify. Even though it's a foreign car, it's assembled in the United States. So boom, you get the deduction. That's pretty good. This big, beautiful bill is a big, beautiful, awesome thing, isn't it? I lost my place. Well, anyway, I don't need to keep going through this. I mean, this is just a great deal. And I did post this on X, so if you want to read all the details. Now, here's one that they are not talking about because they don't want you to know about this one. Deduction for senior citizens. Effective for 2025, individuals who are age 65 or older. My mother's going to be so excited. My mother just fully retired. She's in her early 70s, and she's a widow. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I tell my mom. I'm going to call my mom today and tell her about this after the podcast. Individuals who are age 65 and older may claim an additional deduction of $6,000. That's huge. That means there's senior citizens going to get refunds. The new deduction is in addition to the current additional standard deduction for seniors under existing law. The $6,000 senior deduction is per eligible individual. $12,000 for married couples. The deduction phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross income over $75,000 single or $150,000 for joint filers. To qualify for an additional deduction, a taxpayer must attain age 65 on or before the last day of the taxable year. The deduction is available for both itemizing and not itemizing taxpayers. This is great. So senior citizens just got a $6,000 deduction from the big, beautiful bill. Married seniors, it's a $12,000 deduction. You buy a car assembled in the United States that's new, you can deduct the interest on the loan. You got no tax on overtime and no tax on tips. For people making up to $300,000 a year, how many tip workers make that much money? Don't let them tell you that the big, beautiful bill is for millionaires and billionaires. It's for the people that need the breaks the most. And, you know, for most of the people in these brackets, and this is amazing stuff, isn't it? For most of the people in these brackets, they've never gotten a tax break before. Because when they give tax breaks, it's typically done with a readjustment of the tax brackets. A lot of these people, they don't pay income taxes. They pay payroll taxes, but not income taxes. So they always get skipped over. This is really amazing. And what every senior is going to get $6,000? Every senior citizen in America is going to get $6,000 every year? That's amazing. That's life-changing money for senior citizens. It really is. And Donald Trump did that. Donald Trump made that the law. That's a beautiful thing. And it's important to talk about this because the media are not. They cover all this up because they don't want President Trump to get credit for anything. Now I'm going to take our last break. If you'd like to call in, please do. If you're on hold, stand by. If you're watching live on YouTube, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's a toll-free call, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. This is our last break. We'll be back after this. All right, and we're back. Call us on hold, stand by. Joe Thomas is in studio. Hey, Joe.
Hey.
Now, we talk a lot about this one annuity that you have that has a bonus where you make money before you leave the office, but you got another annuity that has another bonus. You were telling me during the break. This is amazing.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it. So we have the 10% bonus, which is used for income. Now we have a new one with a 16% bonus up front. And what it does is it builds your account for growth. So we got one for income for 10% and 16% for growth, which means that if you want to take advantage of what's going on in the market, you can. You get a 16% upfront bonus. So if you give us $100,000, you start day one with $116,000.
Oh my goodness!
And then you can put it in the market in an indexed annuity, which will grow more if the market keeps going up. Your money goes up.
Well, wait a minute. The bonus you put into an index annuity. So you have so it's two annuities.
It's one annuity altogether.
Okay.
Yeah. But that $116,000 is growing in an index like the S&P 500. So if the S&P 500 goes up, your money keeps going up.
See, what I was telling you during the break, when I think, to me, because I'm not, you're the financial guy, and it gets complex for laymen like me. So, I think about things in very plain ways. When I think about a bonus, first thing I think, well, that's free money.
Yeah.
Right? It literally, it's free money.
Yeah.
It's your money.
Yeah. So we call it velvet handcuffs. They tie your money up for a while. So with these annuities, you got to tie your money up. Well, you tie it up anyway if it's an IRA 401k.
You give me 16%. So, and the other way I look at it is, okay, I got the one with 10 and now this one with 16% bonus. How long would it take me to make 16% on that money in a guaranteed way?
Well, what I tell people, let's say you're earning 5% a year right now in a money market or a CD. You're getting 16%. That's 3 years up front of your interest rate that you have on a CD. So it's pretty significant.
So someone comes to your office, they make 16% before they get back in the car.
Exactly. I had a gentleman yesterday, he's selling a condo. He lucked out. He's selling a condo. It got bought out in Palm Beach. And he's making $750,000. I showed him his bonus is $120,000.
That's crazy.
And that's your death benefit too, day one. So his wife will get $870,000 instead of $700,000.
Well, wait a minute. You never mentioned this. What's the death benefit, and how does that work?
So death benefit means that you get the bonus too. You not only get what you put in, but the death benefit is what the bonus is as well.
Wow.
Day one. Now you say, how can these insurance companies do it? Well, they're insuring risks. That's what they do.
So it's basically, I mean, this may not be the way you're supposed to say it, but it's a life insurance policy too.
It is. It's we call it the death benefit, but it's also kind of a life policy.
Yeah.
These annuities do a lot. I had a gentleman in the office yesterday, and he was converting. He wants to convert to a Roth, and I said, "Hey, we can do this. We can do it." He says, "How come my Fidelity broker never told me?" I said, "He doesn't know, and also he's 30 years of age, right?" I'm in my 60s. This is what I do for a living. This is all I do for a living.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a show on some of the other products and services that we do with our firm.
Yeah, next time you come in, we're going to talk about this, because I was on your radio show just recently, and you started telling me some of the other things you do, and I had no idea. I thought you just did annuities.
No.
And that's really just the beginning of what you do.
We specialize in it, and that's one of the products that we love doing because people aren't aware of it. But we do the life insurance, we do the long-term care, and we have all these different intricate parts of retirement that we can talk to people about.
When you mentioned life, I have a lot of life insurance. In fact, I have so much life insurance that my wife would probably get questioned, okay, if something happened to me. But I was talking to my wife yesterday. We were talking about one of our policies and making sure my daughter was on it. And we were talking, and I don't know. You could take your life insurance and put that into an annuity, like when you get the benefit.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could take the cash value out if you wanted to.
Yes, right.
And you could roll it. You could actually do a 1035 exchange.
Yeah.
So you can go from life to annuity if you really wanted to.
Well, the reason I was thinking about that because I've got multiple life insurance, and maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. I'll talk to you about it off the air. Yeah. But one of my life insurance policies, because I'm getting older, the monthly premium's getting high.
So you can sell it.
Well, I was wondering. That's what I was thinking.
We do life settlements as well. It's another thing that we do for clients. So if you don't need the life insurance anymore and the premium went out of whack, now you can sell it. okay? And they might get, like you see all the time, Coventry on TV. We do the same thing. We have 100 institutional buyers. Sometimes the insurance company that sold you the policy will also buy it back from you. People just don't know. The thing we do, Brian, is bring to attention the things that other people don't know.
Well, with everything I've heard you talk to me about, one of the things you do, people have more money than they realize. They have more opportunities to make money and invest money than they realize, too, it seems a lot, right?
That's true.
You know?
And you got to look at everything as a whole. You know, gold, whatever you have, you got to add it up and say, hey, this is what I've got. How do I utilize it? How do I turn it into income? Or how do I prevent taxes on it? Now,
let's finish up with where we began. So,
Yes.
so there's the new, I don't know, it's new to me because you're telling me about this annuity with the 16% bonus. So when people call up, the no charge consultation, by the way, with Joe Thomas, no matter where you're located, and he's going to put together a custom proposal for you. Tell people again, just to sum up, this 16% bonus, what is this annuity? Who's it for, and when they call you, what should they say to make sure that's the one they get?
50 and I'd say 80 can do this product, and minimum is only $5,000. Okay, minimum is $5,000. There are people out there who won't even talk to you unless you have 500,000. We're setting up accounts with $5,000. You get a 16% bonus up front, and we can tie your money into the market.
Wait, you said 5,000?
5,000 minimum.
That's great.
Yeah, most people want 500,000, 250,000 for some of the brokers.
See, that's what I see. Before I met you, I'd heard of annuities, and I really thought they were for high net worth people because I'd heard 250, and I had 500. I've heard those numbers before, and I didn't realize that middle class people that annuities was an option for them.
No, there's a lot of people buying them that are in our bracket. Let's put it that way.
You can't. I mean, obviously you can get the big ones, but that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, and with someone that has a smaller amount of money gets an annuity, the revenue they get is obviously less than somebody that's got the $500,000. But that smaller amount is what they need.
It's all relative, man. I say just start something, get it going, and if you like it, you add more money to it.
Well, listen, call Joe Thomas. Here's the number. And again, take advantage of the no-charge consultation, and Joe Thomas is going to put together a custom proposal just for you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Okay, so when President Trump speaks, no matter what he's doing, right, signing a bill, making some announcement, whatever it is, he turns everything into a press conference. And the press conferences in his second term, I think, are better than the first term. I really do. The ones in the first term were good, and he did a lot of back and forth, but I don't know. He seems to really shut these reporters down pretty quick. He had one jerk today ask him a question. Let me play this. This is, I tell you, the press, they hate Trump, don't they?
You're weighing your decision to do that, your authority to do that, based on a 1977 law. It's never been invoked before. Why didn't you invoke this law?
Well, we've been winning all along.
I just want to ask you, why didn't you invoke this law in your first term? You could have taken in billions upon billions of dollars in your first term, but you waited until your second term.
Yeah, because in my first term, I was fighting lunatics like you who were trying to do things incorrectly and inappropriately to a president that was duly elected. And we did do certain tariffs in the first term.
Okay. I love how, what they're talking about is the law. There was a debate. The liberals had this fantasy that the president has no tariff authority. He's been making deals like crazy. He did a tariff deal with South Korea today, Mexico, India. He's doing them all over the place. And why didn't you do this in the first term? Why didn't you declassify this in your first term? And Trump said it. He was getting bogged down by these animals, these monsters, these haters, the coup conspirators, the hateful media. And also, one thing President Trump's talked a lot about is that he didn't know who he could trust. The campaign went on for a long time, and then next thing you know, he's president. He didn't know who to trust, who to hire, and that bogged him down. Now he's had the last 4 years, and he's come in perfectly, and everything is just like a well-oiled machine. It really blows my mind. Now, there's a story today that's really a sad story. This guy that murdered these people in front of their children in one of the parks. Have you seen this story? Oh, my goodness. He spared the children, thankfully. This is in the Daily Mail today. 2 little girls led police to the man suspected of killing their parents in front of them while they were out on a family hike. This monster was arrested for the murders of Clinton and Kristen Brink, who were 43 and 41, at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas on Saturday. The couple's daughters, 7 and 9, gave police a description of the man who attacked their parents with a knife. Oh, my goodness. Just insane. The initial information that came from the children gave us our first starting point, which was a description of the suspect, said the Arkansas State Police spokesperson. Police said the monster was a school teacher. He attacked the husband first. He gave the wife time to get their daughters away from the scene. Oh, my goodness. I mean, this is as horrific as it gets. The mother did not return all the way to the car with the kids. We believe the mother took them to safety, then returned to help her husband. Could you imagine the terror going through everyone? Can't even imagine. The little girls eventually flagged someone in the park down and led them and police to their parents' bodies. The witnesses at the scene reportedly shared images of the suspect's car, a Kia Stinger. I'm not sure what a Kia Stinger is. And he's a scary-looking guy. They got the mugshot. He's a scary-looking guy. Police then identified the vehicle's owner, located the Kia at a barbershop not far from the park where the suspect was getting a haircut. What a jerk. Maybe he was trying to change his appearance. He didn't resist arrest. He confessed to the murders, according to police, who said he appeared to make little or no effort to conceal himself or flee the area. They got DNA evidence. It goes on. I mean, this is just a god-awful tragedy. Well, the reason I share this story, the parks are terrifying places. They're not safe. And if you go on YouTube, there is a whole community of people that are homeless that live in the national parks. And there's a certain number of days, I can't remember what it is. Is it 2 weeks? Is it 10 days? Somewhere in that area, where you can stay and camp in a park. So they stay there that period of time, and then they move on to the next place. And some of them, they go from park to park all year long and do it on a whole trek. And there's a whole very large community of people like this. You can see the YouTube channels. A lot of the people that are in the van life and the minimalist lifestyle on YouTube, they live in these parks. They're dangerous. And, a lot of the people that live in the parks, the national parks of America, sadly are like this guy. A lot of them are offenders of all kinds of crimes, and they can't find a place to live because nobody wants to rent to people like that, so they live in the parks. National parks are very, very scary. I would not go camping in a national park. No way, Jose. I wouldn't go with my family to a national park. No way. No way. They're that dangerous. And it's amazing more of these things don't happen. If I went to a national park, I'd have to be with a large group of people. There's no way. And every time you do it, you're taking your life in your hands. Well, at least they got this guy. But the poor girls, not only did they lose their parents, but the parents lost their life. And that's something these kids are never going to get over. And no matter what happens to this guy, I know a lot of people are saying he's insane because he's some type of school teacher. I don't know what kind of teacher, but he's passed background checks. That doesn't mean that he had some mental break here. He may have done things similar to this and worked up to this in the past, but I'd stay away from the national parks. I'm sorry. One other thing I want to mention, because there's a lot of talk going on. Megyn Kelly did a whole thing on this, that Trump is considering pardoning P. Diddy. That's not true. I'm not going to play you the exchange, but I saw it live the other day. You guys can look it up. It was one of these events. I can't remember which event it was, but it probably is in the story that I'm not going to go through the details. I'm just going to tell you because I saw it live. I watch all these Trump press conferences. And it was another event. He started taking questions, and a reporter asked him if he would consider pardoning P. Diddy. And President Trump said, I haven't really followed the case. He's a little busy running the country and running the world, okay, running the United States. But he said, I hadn't really been following the case. He talked about how in the past they knew each other, were kind of friendly, but when he announced he was running for president, P. Diddy, like a lot of these people, wanted nothing to do with him. He said, but what President Trump said was this to the reporter. He says, I have not really followed the case, but he said I'd look it over. That doesn't mean he's considering a pardon. He says, I haven't followed the case. If they applied for a pardon, I'd look at it. That's it. And they have turned this into a consideration for a Diddy pardon by Trump. Nothing could be further from the truth. And, I like Megyn Kelly now. We've had some problems with her over the years, where I remember the debate in the first campaign and everything. But I watch her now from time to time. I like Megyn Kelly. And, those of us that are in the new media is a good thing because we're independent. We can talk and cover things that the mainstream won't or can't, all these things. But it has a flaw. And one of the flaws of the new media, and Megyn Kelly does this from time to time, people are clout chasers. P. Diddy is Megyn Kelly is building a really big media empire. She's hired some people to start this podcast network, but I saw a story the other day. She is looking to become a really large mainstream powerhouse, like Ben Shapiro was trying to build with the Daily Wire that's kind of fallen apart, like Glenn Beck was trying to do with The Blaze. But what Megyn Kelly does, and this, we got to just accept this reality, and I think she would own this up. People that are in the new media oftentimes are clout chasers. P. Diddy is a good trending topic all the time, that if you talk about it and you put it in the title of your podcast or your YouTube video or your post on X or on Facebook, people will pick it up and find out about you who may never have followed you or listened to you or even care about you. So a lot of people in the new media want to get in these clout chasing things like P. Diddy, and they make stories really up that don't exist. Trump's not considering pardoning P. Diddy. It was a question. He made a brief comment about it from a reporter. That's it. But if she says that, if she does a whole segment on this, a lot of people are going to find her in her show that are following P. Diddy that never would tune into Megyn Kelly before. So, that's one of the big flaws with the new media, is there's so much clout chasing for new people and retweets and things like this based on fake news stories. This is a fake news story that Megyn Kelly's discussing. President Trump is not going to pardon P. Diddy. It's not a serious thing. He was asked about it. He responded briefly, and they've turned that into a whole thing. Come on, give me a break. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you were listening on. Those of you on hold, sorry, I'm out of time for calls today. But tomorrow, if you watch me on my live stream on the radio tomorrow, it's Friday. Friday's open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Friday's show in the mornings on the radio, you can call me on Fridays about anything and everything on your mind. It's completely open phones on Fridays only. All right. I'm Brian Craig. Thanks for listening.